G'day folks, this is Ed from Ed Systems, just showing you my improvised tyre bead braking system. I use this to remove tyres from scrap wheels or reusable wheels with junk tyres. Very simple overarm system. The foot which presses down on the bead can be relocated in any one of these notches depending on the size of the tyre and the leverage required. Initially I had an original single swing arm point here, but since I bent the overarm trying to dismount a 16-inch light truck tyre, I've decided to go with a notched system. It mounts onto the universal steel table by means of a 16mm cap screw. I've tried 12mm before, but the 16-inch light truck tyre problem ended up tearing that bolt in half just through sheer force. I mean, these wheels here are just from a old Hyundai XL. I don't generally use Korean stuff in my workshop, so I'm just peeling the good tyres off and chucking the wheels in the steel bin. This one hasn't been off since it left the factory, so I was a bit stubborn, but once the bead slips down off the lip on the inside here, it can be forced down by hand. I'm not an authorised tyre repairer myself, so I can't legally repair anything for road use, or mount it to that matter. But as far as non-road use, like in industrial or just lawn tractor tyres and things like that, they're pretty much anyone's game. If you feel confident enough to do it yourself, by all means. But as for road going stuff, it's more of a liability safety issue. If a bad repair goes, or bad, and an accident occurs because of a tyre failure, then it's on the head of whoever repaired it. That's why licensed or qualified repair shops are best left to the repair job. This is the bead braking foot itself. Just a crude little steel contraption. All the edges have been smoothed and polished off to avoid any damage to the wheel or the tyre. A block of wood can be used to protect aluminium wheels, which seem to have a bit of a sharp step on the inside surface, and without this foot in place, or without the timber block in place, this foot hangs up on that lip and simply does not go down, or it will score the inside surface of the aluminium wheel and either create an area for an air leak or simply a damaged spot, which is undesirable. So for aluminium wheels that have to be reused or can be reused, we use this in place. Steel wheels generally have a smoother contour and a lot harder to damage, so I swing the block out of place and downforce does the rest with the overarm. This is the first try of the inside bead. These are usually a lot harder to dismount than the outside bead. You can see the foot is fully seated in under the rim. The block is not being used in this case. Again, this tyre hasn't been off since it left the factory, so it may be quite a challenge. I have the steel extension bar installed on the overarm to give extra leverage. Some tyres require that extension bar plus my full weight on top of it to break the bead. Some I can take the bar off and just pull down with one hand and the bead will slip off. It just depends on what I'm dealing with and what size it is, how old it is, or what the rim flange diameter in here is. Firm pressure. It's gone down a bit, but not a lot. See, it started to slip down past the flange. Rotate a little. Now it's trying to slip back on. better. The bead depressor on this is a little bit too short for these little car tyres, but it just manages to do the job. As you can see, the foot leaves a bit of a scratch on the steel. This isn't a problem since the rim is scrap metal, but on an alloy wheel that would be a bit undesirable. This will take roughly one more press to fully break free and slip down far enough to be unseated. In order to remove the tyre, you do it from the outside surface, and you get the outside bead to sit down in here before levering it from the opposite side with a proper tyre lever. You always have two of those. Don't try and use anything else. It's either too hard or causes damage to the beads. In this case I want to keep the tyre, so bead damage is very bad. That's about all I've got time for on this camera. I shall try and do one of the proper dismounting technique.